Good morning. Welcome to Hobby Evolution, episode 377. Happy Saturday. Repping the Saturday Red Badgers gear. What's up, Diego? I love Diego's comments. And I will actually, and I know they're tongue in cheek, but it's actually a great point um, that I'll touch on. So I said I was going to sleep, but it's not even 7:30 my time. I said I was going to sleep in. I did. You can probably hear it in my voice. Nasty head congestion going on. Um, I fell asleep on the couch at like 8 last night. It was like 8:40. My wife's like, "You can go to bed." I think I think that was my cue. She wanted to watch Pimple Pop or some of those gross doctor shows she watches. So I was in bed at like 8:45 last night. Didn't sleep very well again, second night in a row. So I may have to knock down some NyQuil tonight or tomorrow night just to get some good Z's. So today I wanted to talk about strategy for selling cards full time. And obviously, I made the decision this week. Well, I made the decision about a month ago, but it was finalized this week going into business, selling cards full time. And it wasn't an overnight decision. This wasn't something that it's like I'm fed up with my job. I'm going to quit tomorrow and sell cards full time. This has actually been probably 6 years, 5, 6 years in the making. I actually had this discussion with my best friend Scott. I've talked about him on the show. He's the guy that lives near Club 400. He's a financial planner, and a few years ago, 5 years ago, we talked about. I brought it up. I'm like, is this a good idea? And it was kind of like I would do it a part time when I was ripping and flipping cases. So am I actually doing this right? Okay. So in that is, am I making any money? And when you sell stuff on eBay, and I was caught in this trap a long time ago. I've been selling on eBay for 22, 3 years now. Um, and early on, it's like, hey, you sell and say it's a bulky item. It's like, hey, I sold this item for $25. I just made $25. No, you didn't make $25 because there's eBay fees. There's maybe you had to go to Walmart and buy a dollar bubble mailer to ship it, or a box. Was there a cost involved in that? The shipping, the postage itself is going to cut down a lot of that profit. And any other supplies, or and not and the cost was, it say it was a t-shirt, and say you got it for $2 or $3 at Goodwill, and that's $2 or $3 off that, you know to get to your bottom line. So that $25 becomes 10, 9, 8 really, really, really quickly. So you think you're making, $25 times 100, and in reality it's only $8 times 100. So your profit margins are much lower than what it appears at the sell price. And I say this because I felt like I was making a lot of money, but I wasn't really tracking. I wasn't taking into account the supplies, the top loaders, the bubble mailers, because this was before I started my eBay store. So I had, there were probably some insertion, whatever, to the cost to list the item. The final value fees were a little bit higher, and they are a little bit higher. I think if you don't have a store, I think the final value is on cards would be like 12.5, or maybe 12.35%. eBay store, it's like 11.5%. So plus the 30-cent transaction fee. So over the last probably 2, 3, 4 years ago, I started tracking a little closer. And I by the way, ripping and flipping cases was, and this is 2016 and 17. And I've said this a lot, and I can't hammer it home enough. In 2017, my hobby case of 2017 Bowman was $797. That was my total cost for a case of 12 boxes of 2017 Bowman hobby boxes. And guess what? I lost about $300. Yeah. So, and now how much are they? 3,200. And yes, the first come up, where the first Bowman Chromes back then were a couple bucks. Now they're 20, 30 bucks at release. So things have changed, but really hasn't made up. So I start doing this in 6 months down the road. I take a look at my P&L, my profit and losses, and holy moly, my margin, I made about $100. I made about $100 profit over 6 months ripping and flipping cases. Now, since then, I have also been able to get those costs down. Now, a small, 0.75% on the final value fees for having the eBay store. My cost on the PWEs down significantly because of my stamp guy, Carl. So the envelopes and the stamps, those are down. My cost 38 cents as opposed to, I think it would be 61 cents. So I've been able to get those costs down. I've been able to streamline how to list. So I'm not as fearful of a loss on sealed wax. Like I bought 2 cases of Topps Heritage Miners that releases at the end of this month, the end of October. And Heritage Miners, and I had a conversation, which I'm going to get into, private conversation, so I won't reveal the name, but had a conversation about, how, and this is what led to this show today, was my private conversation yesterday. How do you do it? And ripping and flipping cases was brought up. And, you bought 2 cases of Heritage Miners. Now, Heritage Miners, and I can't think like this anymore, where last year I bought a couple boxes of Bowman Draft because I just wanted to rip it for fun. Now as of October 14th, I have 2 weeks. Now it's full time. Now it's my job. This is how I pay the bills now, is selling cards. So I can't have that mindset of, oh, hey, I'm going to go spend $1,000 on Bowman Draft because I like it. It's fun. It's a hobby. I can't think like that anymore because, every dollar I spend, I really need to be careful, especially in this first year. Down the road, can I have that mindset? Hopefully, yes, when the business is humming and profits are coming in. But as I scale up and get things running, I can't just be buying tobacco Cubs cards and stuff. I have to really watch my spend. Heritage Miners, going back to the Heritage Miners, great ROI. One of the best ROIs in sealed wax. And you've seen the prices. They actually did raise the price. I cost myself about $100 in waiting to buy my cases. I think they went up $50 per case this week on Monday. So, but they're still, I think the cost is like $60 a box. And I think if you buy them, a single box is right in that same range. There's not much of a discount if you buy in a case, but it's like $62 if you buy a single box. You get 2 autographs. Now the autographs you're not going to pull a $200, $300 autograph like you would in Bowman or Bowman Chrome. But you still may pull, a nice hot prospect that can sell, and maybe one or both autographs will make up the cost of the box, where, it's not likely that other products are going to have that type of return. Plus the singles sell really well, both at release and as you approach spring training and the minor league seasons, because people will want them. They're in beautiful product for autographs. In fact, I've seen, and this is, I get distracted here. I go off on another tangent. I get distracted easily when I see something I like, and something that I like is a complete set of Heritage Miners autographed. It is so beautiful. And the card stock, I don't think I have any around me. The card stock is perfect for autographs. These are minor league guys, so it's going to be tough to get some of the top prospects because they won't sign through the mail, or it's hard to get them at the stadium. But it's such a beautiful autographed product. I would love to complete an autographed set of Heritage Miners. So it's very popular among autograph circles because of that fact. So they sell really well, and especially as you get into the minor league season, you'll have people, oh, this prospect, he's coming to town for, wherever he's going to be, turn cards to get him signed. Great ROI with heritage miners. So reading Diego's comment, tried everything, including micropayments with PayPal. It was a big deal for me to save a penny or two. Yes, and every cost, every penny you save, and especially when it comes down to bulk sales, every penny matters. And micropayments, I thought when eBay managed payments was going in, that it was just going to kill my 99 cent, my $2 sales, because that's how I thrived on those low dollar sales. Was the micropayments, was the transaction fee was only a nickel as opposed to 30 cents. It didn't affect my bottom line as much as I thought. And now we have to deal with it. Yeah, we can complain about eBay's managed payments, and you can love it, you can hate it, you can like it, you can dislike it. It is what it is. We have to deal with it and move on. So the micropayments was huge, especially when, comparing to, because you're paying the eBay percent, plus you're paying eBay's percent, plus that transaction fee. And that was huge. That was 25 cents per sale of savings using micropayments. So it does stink with managed payments with that 30-cent transaction fee. So that's how I try to spur volume, that 10% discount when you buy 3 or more. So somebody doesn't come in and just buy, I don't have 100 sales of 99-cent cards, because my net profit on a single 99-cent card is about a nickel or a dime. And it's like, well, why do you do that? Well, that's not my goal. My goal isn't to sell. And I say this ad nauseum. My goal isn't to sell 100 99-cent cards to 100 different buyers. The goal is to sell, maybe 50 99-cent cards, and the other 50 buy 3 cards to get that discount. Or maybe somebody comes in and there's some sales that, I'm going to buy 40 cards. And so that's the goal. I'm going to go off camera because I have to blow my nose real quick. I apologize. My head congestion is absolutely terrible. So every penny you save, and I'm looking at this as bulk in trying to build. I have about just under 4,000 active listings, and I want to build that higher and higher. And every penny, when you say, I always, people laugh, and I'm like, I'm saving, if I can get top loaders at 8 cents per, and they're looking at me funny. And I'm like, okay, well, if I buy them, say the semi rigids from Walmart, 13 cents brand new is a great deal. But if I can get top loaders at 8 cents per top loader compared to 13 cents, and I'm using about 1,000 per month, that's a nickel times 1,000, and multiply that by 12 over the course of a year. That's a lot of money. And that's just a simple savings right there. So I want to get into my plan. In the conversation I had yesterday, ripping and flipping was, buying cases was brought up, and that's I would suggest, in everybody is different. I would suggest not ripping and flipping, but find your niche. You want to do this full time. You've got to find a niche or a lane. Pick your lane. If you just go into it willy-nilly and you don't really know what you're doing, it's going to be really hard to succeed. Your lane. Pick a lane, specialize, and then you can ramp up. You got to differentiate yourself when it comes to sales. And I was kind of I was just tossing everything. I was throwing everything at the wall. I tried ripping and flipping back in 16, 17. I found out 6 months later, after a trial run, 6 months in, I'm not making any money. I've got to alter. I've got to pick a different lane. And over the course of time, it's like I'm building sales and building sales. And last year, it's like, hey, I'm doing pretty well. I'm selling all of a sudden, what changed, what really put me on another level with my eBay sales was eBay gave us 50,000 if you had the eBay store, 50,000 free listings. And I was always keeping my eBay store at around 1,000 listings because I didn't want to pay the insertion fees on all of these listings. And if, all of a sudden, you have 3,000, you're paying insertion listings on 2,000 items. And what if you're only selling 100? You're paying more in insertion listings than what you're actually selling, and you're going backwards. Guess what? eBay's also not making money well, they are making money, but they're not making as much money. So say they're making, say 2,000. Say I'm keeping 2,000 listings in my store. They're getting my eBay subscription fee plus fees on 1,000 listings. And then whatever I sell, they're getting those final value listings, but they're holding me back. Now, if I list 50,000, my sales are going to, increase 25x. And that means the percent of what I sell is going to, will stay the same, but that in volume, 1% of 20,000 is a lot more than the percent of 2,000 listings. So they're making more money on final value. I really ramp things up. What's up, Zach? Good morning. So I ramp things up, and all of a sudden, the sales are coming in. Then I start going through quarter boxes, and it's something that it was natural. Bargain box bow just kind of came on naturally, where I was digging through some quarter boxes. I find like, hey, I know I can sell this. I can sell that, this is 25 cents. I can sell this for $3 or $4. I can sell this for $5. I found a couple autographs in like the $3 and up box. And it's like, I think this might be worth more. And it was one trip to the card shop when I saw there was an Alex Verdugo rookie auto. There was somebody else. They were marked for like $4, $5, $6. And I'm like, this might be worth more. There was a Justin Verlander rookie for like $3. And I'm like, I know like Kershaw and Scherzer are worth, a good amount. I wonder how much the Verlander. This was a Saturday. I went home, looked up the comps, and the Verdugo was selling for $30, $40. The Verlander was selling for $30, $40. And I could have had those two cards for under 10. So I went back Monday after work and I bought those cards, found some others, and I kept digging and had success digging through those bargain boxes. Now, you also have to have the knowledge of what can sell for more, because not all bargain boxes are created equally. Some are cherry picked pretty well. Some have great deals, some don't. My strategy when it comes to picking through bargain boxes with the idea to flip is I'll take a stack. Sometimes it takes 2 or 3 stacks, and I'll go through. And if I'm finding a bunch of 89 score, 91 Donruss, 91 Fleer, it's like, okay, for a quarter, there's probably not going to be, if it's mainly 80s and 90s stuff, this isn't for me. While you can flip Griffey's and Bo Jackson's, other junk wax era stuff isn't going to sell like some newer stuff, especially like a Bowman. And a lot of people will put, myself included, there's a lot of first Bowmans in my 25-cent boxes just because I want to flip it real quick. And this month, in fact, I'll probably, because I want to refresh my quarter boxes, especially for my Madison show, I'll probably pull all the first Bowmans that didn't sell and I'll list them on eBay. And then I'll put new stuff in the quarter boxes. What doesn't sell eventually will go into my eBay store. So you really have to have the knowledge. It's not like you can't just go to any bargain box and spend a half an hour and find a whole bunch of cards. Sometimes it's going to take 3-4 hours. I spend a lot of time in the bargain boxes, and I kind of have an idea of what can and what cannot sell. Do I make mistakes? Absolutely. Everybody does. Not every card you pull out of a dollar box or a quarter box that you think you're going to make some money on. I can probably pull a stack of cards right now and, this was a fail. This was a fail. This was a fail. But there's also going to be a lot of successes that come along with it. One thing that and this could be I bought at like the lowest point of the off season with basketball. I bought a, and I haven't listed too many basketball, but my basketball just hasn't been selling. And that could be we've been in the off season. There's been that downturn. Maybe it starts to go up here in the next month because I think preseason starts this coming week. So I think we're going to see basketball start to take off. Hopefully, I don't think we're going to see the heights of what it was in 2019 and 2020, but hopefully it does rebound because this past year was pretty poor when it came to basketball card sales. So we shall wait and see. So I can't really say that was a pass or fail on some of the basketball bargain box pulls, but to this point, haven't made much. So going with the knowledge, and again, this is my strategy. My strategy has been bargain boxes and in bulk buys. So in a lot of my inventory, this one, I'm going to reiterate this, and I'll probably reiterate this a couple more times. And cards wasn't overnight. A lot of 5 to 6 years of trial and error before I not only found my niche and picked a lane, but once I did pick that lane, I had to like put the numbers down. Okay, what are my costs? What's my net profit here? And if extrapolated out, because now I have an extra 8 hours, 9 hours per day, with no outside interference with a job, scaling up what are my numbers going to look like moving forward based on these sales, based on what I'm turning over, current inventory, how much inventory I have. So there was a lot of number crunching going in. It wasn't just like I hate my job, I want to sell cards, and let's try to wing it. There was a lot of planning, a lot of strategy involved, and that's kind of inventory. This was a big question. Had a couple people ask me. Well, where do you get your inventory? Do you rip boxes? No, that if I were to give any advice, if you're selling cards full time or wanting to sell cards full time, the absolute worst way to build inventory is to buy sealed wax, unless you're getting a heck of a discount. But if you go to Walmart, and I actually made this comparison myself. When I went down to Mike Summers' card shop 2 weeks ago, I hit Walmart because I wanted to see if by chance I could find some products that I actually wanted. I didn't, but I found some Panini Prism baseball and I bought some. I spent like $100 on Panini Prism, and it was one of those like spur of the moment. Oh, it was that excited, like I'm going to buy this. And then you walk out and you look at the receipt and it's like, what did I just do? This was stupid. It was dumb to spend $100 on them, because in baseball, it's a terrible resale product. Fortunately, I got lucky and I pulled a big card in Juan Soto that sold for about $50. And there were some other cards that I basically broke even, but I got lucky. If I didn't pull that Juan, so say that Juan Soto white prism was actually Evan White. Actually, Evan White's a rookie, so that might have been. Say it was a Kettle Marte, $3-4 card. It's big money loss. So if you're looking for inventory, sealed wax is the absolute worst way to go. I have been lucky that a lot of my inventory was picked up 5, 6, 7 years ago, and a lot of it happened to take off. Some of those tennis cards, Novak Djokovic rookies, that were sitting in a box that I probably would have taken to Goodwill at some point because it's tennis. Who wants tennis all of a sudden? Whoa. These cards are worth some money. So I've been able to build that inventory by buying bulk. How do you find those bulk deals? It's really difficult now because now we're going back to like the original, I call it the junk wax era, but when things were taken off in the early 90s, cards, there was a big card boom. And guess what? For the next 20 years, people thought they had a gold mine because, okay, if I bought this 89 top set for $30 in 1989, what's it going to be worth? It's 25 years later. It's got to be worth 25x. And guess what? It was worth $5 and not $30. And it took a long time for people to realize, the general masses that had not collected since the early 90s. It took about until now, until the recent card boom a year ago, for people to realize, oh, it's just a bunch of 80s and 90s. I've heard that's worthless. And now here we go. We took off again, and now people think they have gold mines once again. I'll get to the chat here real quick. The mindset is there is no plan B. Absolutely. You have to go in and not only have a plan. I mean, you have to have a plan. You have to have a strategy. You have to have a plan. Make that strategy, build that plan, make sure it works. You can have a strategy, you can have a plan, but once executed, it might not work. If you have the ability to test this out, that's another thing that I had going for me. I had have a full-time job where I can play at night and kind of you know execute this plan to actually works. And to this point, it has. And then the mindset, once it does work, you scale up and you have that mindset that I have to do it. If I don't list cards on eBay today, I'm not going to sell any cards. And if I don't sell any cards, I'm not getting money. And then what? So there is no plan B. Are you going to open a Sport Lot store as well? You have the inventory to make it work over time and build your brand. No. I think Sport Lots is a great way to sell base cards. But it's just, for what I have, I had a lot of success selling on Sport Lots when I was ripping and flipping cases. And I'm not going to be doing that. Sport Lots for me is just it's too much. You have to be super organized, which, as you can see, I'm not super my eBay store, in small doses, I can be really organized, like with my eBay store inventory, and that'll scale up. But Sport Lots, I don't have the time to devote to that, because I have a large amount of inventory that can be flipped onto eBay, and those 99-cent, and a lot of, and when I say that, so a lot of the stuff that I move junk wax stuff on eBay pretty consistently, for 99 cents or $1.50. And on Sport Lots, I just sold an 89 tops Greg Jeffries on eBay for 99 cents. And on Sport Lots, that's going to be 18 cents. And there's going to be 1,000 others in competition for that sale. So I'm narrowing the focus on eBay. So it's going to be eBay only. I'm not going to branch out to other platforms. I have essentially, I have streamlined, and I have found that eBay is the platform that I want to roll with. And just kind of like Twitter. Now with social media, it's a kind of a different animal. I'm going to branch out and do other social media platforms on a more regular basis. But Twitter is kind of, I've focused social media wise on Twitter. And then once you kind of get that focus, and then start to build on other things. So I'm not saying that I'll never sell on Sport Lots again, but at least in the next 2 years, it's not an option, because year one, over the course of the next 12 months, I've got to scale up in what inventory I have that's not listed, has to be listed, and it's going onto eBay. Say year 2, year 3, I want to branch out and expand and do Sport Lots. Never say never. Somebody also asked me, are you going to open a storefront? I think Madison, Wisconsin is in great need of a great card shop, a brick and mortar store. But no, it's not in my plan, but never say never. On my own, I wouldn't do it, but if somebody came along and presented a great plan, I would definitely put it into consideration. But at this point in time, no. I always think cost per card and go, why did I buy this? Yeah, I mean, you take a look at, so Bowman Chrome, which, by the way, My Bowman Chrome boxes they have reached Madison, Wisconsin. So they're in the final mile. The FedEx tracking says they've been dropped off to the post office. Now it's in USPS's hands. It's Smart Post. So it does say estimated delivery tomorrow. They've reached Madison. So then they have to. So once they get to Madison, they're given to the post office, the main facility here, and then once they, USPS, takes them to the local post office, and then the local post office puts it on the delivery truck. So they're in Madison in the main facility's hands. So it says tomorrow for delivery. I ordered in 2 batches, so I'm not holding my breath that the boxes will be delivered Sunday. But at least they've made it to Madison, Wisconsin, and they haven't bounced around the entire country. Michael, what's Michael Rickert? My sons and I budget purchases of lots at half a cent per card. Then you can sell to set builders at a profit, get lucky with some good finds in the lot, and sell dollar cards easy. Michael that's the exact strategy that I have. I'm going to step away for just a second. That's the bulk strategy. And I love that strategy. And that's, I will look through. So when I look through bargain boxes, sometimes I'll just want the entire box. So when I went to the Wisconsin Dell show in May, there was a box, a 4-row box of nothing but basketball rookies, like second tier guys from 2019. So we're talking like Grant Williams, Romeo Langford, Matisse Taibuli, some of those guys. And so I'm digging through, and I've built like a nice pile of maybe 50 cards, and it's like I kind of just want all of these. So I asked the guy, I'm like, what would you do for the entire box? And he goes 200, and I'm like, that's a fair price. Let's do it. And that was a cost per card of about 12 cents. Now I think I can, and so my strategy here is hopefully one or two of the guys get hot and their cards sell for $5. But otherwise, they're still newer rookie cards. I can sell them for $1 or $2. Not fairly easily, but I think I can make, a decent profit here. And after we finalize the deal, he says, now who got the better deal, you or me? And I said, well, you have $200 cash in your hand. So right now but in 6 months, it might be me. So what's more important, $200 now or $500 in 6 months? So that's kind of my strategy. I'll go through. I did the Rockford show that I did, the last Rockford show I did, which would have been August. Was going through, and it was one of those boxes that normally I wouldn't give the time of day to a seller that just has random cards all over the place and they're not priced. Like that's my worst. That's my biggest pet peeve. And I'm like, how much? I'm like, is there a certain price on these? Oh no, it's, I'll have to look at comps. And I'm like, come on, man. So I'm looking through and I'm like, I don't want to pull, what if he's over comps, or I don't even know comps on some of these cards. So I'm like, what would you do for the entire box? I go through like all the cards for the most part, kind of have a dollar range in mind. What would you do for the entire box? My target was 250 to 500. And 500 would have been like, even at 500, like, ooh, that's going to be really tough because they're basketball cards in the off season. But 250, I thought if I sold even at the bottom of the market at 250, I could make money back. And he goes 250 or best offer. I'm like 200 right now. So bought them for 200, and I think it was a good. In fact, I still have like most of the cards. I've sold a few cards, and I probably made $100. And I've got basically most of the cards. I think I sold one or two of the high dollar cards. The rest is just gravy. Well, I got to get to that break even point. So yeah, Michael, that's kind of my strategy. Buy bulk lots and lots over singles, especially if you want to put the grind in, if you want to put the work in. And that's my strategy. My strategy is buy bulk lots and just volume. You may not have the time. to do that. Um, but find your niche. And I said, it doesn't have to be, you don't have to follow my advice to a T. If it's, I'm spending 3-4 hours in a bargain box at a card show. You may not have card shows in your area. You may not have good bargain boxes in your area. You may not want to put the time in to grind 25 cents into $2 every time, in a volume way, because it takes a lot of time and effort and knowledge. So that might not be your lane. Your could be grading cards. I've never graded a card. I've never submitted a single card in my life. I keep saying I'm going to make a submission to SGC soon. At some point I will. Now that I'm doing this full time, that's kind of on the back burner. Like, I don't want to put that money into, my Cubs cards, because that's not part of the business. So I need to focus on the business first right now when it comes to the cards. So that could be your lane. Great. If you know how to identify gem mint cards and flip slabs. Prospecting, I wouldn't suggest that, because you can get burned. And that was in the chat I had yesterday, was and I think it was in regards to maybe Bowman Chrome. It's like, what if you pull this guy who's a top 5 autograph, but if you submit it to grading and a year later he becomes hot? Well, now I'm sitting on the cost of the box, the cost of grading, and I'm sitting on that for a year for the potential. It's a lottery. It's a gamble. That's a gamble. That's not good business. So I would not suggest prospecting, because that is, holy cow. So, okay, and here's a great example of this is my shock face. I pulled an O'Neill Cruz Bowman Chrome refractor out of a dollar box, and this was a while ago, probably maybe a year ago. Now I have it listed for $32 in my eBay store, and I've had watchers on it for the last several months. And at first I was doing $30 and no bites, 25. I think I sent an offer because it's been sitting, and I've sent so many offers. Last night I sent an offer for $16, and it just sold. Somebody picked it off the buy it now for $32. So those are some. It's like O'Neill Cruz sold. Oh, cool. They took my offer. Oh no, somebody else bought it outright for $32. So I like that. So Diego says, do you think starting the Madison card show is a big part of this venture? Diego, that is an excellent question. Nick just said Cruz got called up. All my Cruz sold last night as well. That makes sense, because I also had I sold the Chrome refractor just now, which I think I have another one in a box not listed, and I have the 19 Heritage Miners. I sold a lot, and I think he has 2 cards. I think he has the All-Star card and the base card in 19 Heritage Miners. Okay, I did not see that he got called up. Interesting. And I sold the Bowman like international insert from a couple years ago as well. I'm gonna have to go now that he's selling. I'm gonna have to go through and find my O'Neill Cruz cards. So going back to Diego, Diego says, do you think starting the Madison card show is a big part of this adventure? This venture and adventure? I think yes, to an extent. I think that's what pushed me further. I think that's what pushed me over the edge to actually make the decision to do it. Because I found that in the job I work with, I don't like too many people because it's transportation. You're dealing with, fortunately in my position, I don't deal with like the carriers, because you can get cussed out, and it's like, you're like, dude, I'm sitting at a desk. Like, I'm not at the dock. I'm sorry. So it's just not my cup of tea. And I did it for 7.5 years. And when I started the Madison Card Show, I start meeting all of these like-minded people. We all share a love of cards and sports and other things. And that's kind of what it's like. hey, I do like I do like people. I like this. This is fun. I wish I could do this with upset customers and upset carriers and upset um I wish I could do this. Yeah, I think that really kind of pushed me over the edge. Going to the national, that big a big part of it as well. Talking with and networking with um, other sellers that do this full time and other people that are influencers or content creators. It's like this is definitely and several times over the course of the last few years, my if I come home and if I have usually it's bad day at work, great day in the hobby. My wife's like, "You're in the wrong. You're spending your time at the wrong job," and I was, and I realized that several years ago, and it took a little push to send me into the hobby to the I guess I can't call it the hobby, it's a business, but into the cards full time. And yeah, I think the Madison Card Show was a big push to get me to this point. Great question. Your inventory could help you do well with Twitter stack sales, a lot of impulse buys, and could be some nice quick sales and help promote the store. That's again, never say never. But that's just Twitter stack sales is not my thing. I've done some Twitter sales, not stack sales, but just some random sales, and it's a pain. Um, and I like, and I've and people hate when I say this, but I think eBay fees are some of the best money spent based on not just the eyeballs that see your listings. And this is not a sponsored ad, by the way. Um, Not only the eyeballs that see your eBay listings, but just for the CRM alone. And if anybody's in sales and deals with CRMs, they are expensive. And I think eBay's CRM is, I mean, everything is streamlined. Like I'm disorganized. So and that's why people come to me all the time. And I tweet my link to my eBay store and they're like, "Hey, do you want to do this off eBay to save on fees?" No, I don't. And it's because if it's in a Twitter DM and I get DMs all the time, it's clutter and it's like, "Oh, crap, I forgot this guy." And it's going to lead to too many problems. Um where in eBay everything's streamlined and it's just like, hey, I'll shoot you an offer. If it's somebody I know, like, hey, I'll shoot you an offer. I'll give you $2 off, whatever. I'll give you a deal, but I do want to keep it on eBay. And especially now, I have to keep track of all these sales. Now and you're supposed to, even if it's not a business, you're supposed to be keeping track of your sales for Mr. Taxman. But on eBay, I don't have to track. Like if I was selling on different platforms, I'm gonna have to be even organized within my business spreadsheets. And it's like, oh, here's a sport lot sale, and now all of a sudden I'm devoting all this time to paperwork and tracking sales. So that's why I just want one lane only, and it's going to be all eBay. Um, just because there's so many other things that you really don't think about, and it's like all of a sudden plus I've got to be a wholesaler. You have to have a sales tax certificate that comes in. You have to report your sales tax. Well, eBay does that. So everything that goes through eBay, I just boom, here's the report. I give that to my accountant. Here's the sales tax that eBay collected, and I don't have to deal with it. If I went through sport lots or sold on my website, I have the ability to sell on my own website, which I thought about doing as well. But then I have to collect the sales tax, or if I don't collect the sales tax, I have to pay it at the end of the year. Um, and again, it's just so those are the reasons where it's not really, you don't really think about it. But to keep it in one lane, eBay does all that work for you. And I know people complain about eBay fees and all this, but they collect the sales tax. They run the reports. Like I don't have to do all of this reporting. My wife, when she runs her stuff, she has to, every little thing. eBay does all that, all those reports. I can just download a report, send that to my accountant. They do the rest. Boom, it's easy. I can devote more time to listing on eBay, selling on eBay, and increasing my sales. So that's why. Um, that's why I think eBay is great. That's why I think the eBay fee is an excellent price. And I do understand if you're only selling a few items here and there on eBay, yeah, the eBay fees can suck. But it is what it is. And when you're doing volume sales, eBay is top notch in my opinion. Um, so that's kind of my strategy. Um, kudos to you knowing who you are. You need the organizational support so you know where you need to sell. That's the yeah, organization is the biggest key. In fact, that's kind of this next week before I really dive into listing more. Because I know organization is so key because when I do these file exchange, the last time I did a file exchange, I did a few updates and I had stacks of cards everywhere. And that takes all of a sudden I'm like, okay, where's this card? I'm searching through stacks and I'm spending 5 minutes looking for one or two cards. So I need to get all of these shelving units prepared for the onslaught of new listings. So organization, that's and that's something that I didn't even really touch on is organization is a huge key. Especially when you're dealing with bulk. If you're just doing a few sales here and there, a smaller amount, you still obviously need to be organized, but not to the extent of, like look at Mike Summers' Sport Lots inventory. Like that's just, and I think at one point I had about 100,000 cards when I stopped selling on Sport Lots, and it's just so hard. I apologize. It's just so hard to keep all of that organized, and not only that, and going back to Sport Lots, and here's some drawbacks. And I have a blog post, and people say, well, and actually one of my trade partners sent me a Facebook message a few weeks ago. I just read your Sport Lots article. How come you pumped Sport Lots up and said it's great and you're not selling? I think at the time that I wrote that, I was still selling on Sport Lots. But the drawbacks, and I told my buddy Herman, here's the drawbacks. And take it, take this advice, for whatever it's worth. A is 80s and 90s cards hardly sell. I had about 100,000 cards in my eBay store inventory, and I had spent hours and hours sorting like 80 tops, 81 tops, 82 tops. And I'm thinking I stayed away from like 85 to like current. On well, and I say I stayed away from like 85 to the most recent 3-year period. So like 85 to 2013. So I had a lot of 80, and I'm thinking, man, there's going to be set builders, 80 tops, 81 tops, 82 tops, 81 Donruss, 82 Donruss, 83 Donruss. There's a lot of set builders for those early 80s sets. And I bet in a 2-year window, I may have sold a couple dozen cards from those sets. And I spent 12 hours sorting, just sorting. And then you have to list, and you may have 7 cards of this, 8 cards of this, which I did on a lot of those sets. So like you can spend just all your time organizing, sorting, listing, and then, and they're 18-cent sales, and, say you're selling a decent amount, 20% fees. And it's just, and so you're spending hours and hours sorting and listing, and then you have to pull the cards. So you have to, and say you have an order of 100 cards, and they're probably from a few dozen sets at least, and you're pulling by, and you're spending 40 minutes on one order. That 18 cents times, it's like $18 gross, and you're spending a half an hour, and you probably have 2 hours between sorting, listing, and it's like, you're making $3 an hour pulling all these cards and fulfilling this order. I think it's great. On that note, that those are some of the negatives. On this note, if you're if you're buying cases and you just have the base lying around, and say you're buying Bowman because you like the autos and the colors, and you're grading and flipping or whatever you're doing, and you have the base, it's great. And I know a lot of sport lot sellers, their strategy is within the past 3 years. In fact, my local card shop, he has in fact, I'm gonna have to go in and see if he still has the junk. He calls them junk boxes, but I've had great success buying a junk box for $20 and pulling $100 worth of cards out of it because they're his old sport lots inventory. And so he basically pulls his inventory out from 3 years and beyond. So this is 2021. So 2017 and back, he's only focused on the last 3 years, which is a good strategy because and again, that's where he's found he's making the sales are within the last 3 years, especially when it comes to Bowman, Heritage Minors, Pro Debut, those type of sets, because anything 17 and beyond, those guys, there's a smaller chance that they're going to be getting a call up or getting hot as a prospect. Although O'Neal Cruz, I think, what year was his? I have it right here. So he was 16. So he was 16, but he was a really young prospect, which is what we're seeing a lot of Bowman, like Bowman Chrome this year, is a lot of like 16, 17-year-old signees. So I'm going to have to list that second O'Neal Cruz refractor I have. So let's see. Yeah, it's sold for full price, $32. Very cool. Maybe I'll wait. Maybe he hits a home run and I can sell it for $40. So that's what I had for today. I appreciate it. Andrew, what's up? Good morning. By the way, I think Andrew gave me a tip on File Exchange where you can copy and paste on Image Shack. And Nick, how if Nick's still here and shoot me a chat, shoot in chat how if you're having any issues or successes on File Exchange. So Andrew, and I think you can correct me if I'm wrong, Andrew, gave me some advice on File Exchange where, because I have been copying and pasting each link to the photos into the spreadsheet, which is very tedious. And I'm like, man, I wish there was a way to simplify this. Andrew found a way. You can actually copy and paste. Maybe I'll StreamYard live tomorrow. And I can show it on StreamYard because he sent me the video and I didn't understand in text in the messages. Yes, big time saver. Yeah. So Andrew sent me, he found a way to copy and paste in bulk. So, there's 40 images per page. That's my job today. Haven't tried it yet. Awesome. So Image Shack, you can copy and paste. Let's see if I can bring it up. Copy and paste. Have you tried it? So Andrew, I have not put it to practice, but I have tested it because I just wanted to make sure. I just saw Kin's tweet. So where was I at? So there's 40 photos per page. So I put it to I did a test just because I wanted to see how the links laid out. Get links. So select. Okay, so when you're in Image Shack, so I've got a page up, select all. So that'll select all 40 images on a page. And then this is on the far right side of the screen within the Image Shack website. So you select all, and then the very top is get links. And that, since you have selected all 40, that brings you to all 40 links. And then just copy and paste and copy it, just select or just go to the top where you're where those 40 cards in. Now you have to make sure that you have to make sure it matches up. So, and I do this by, so when here's how I streamline Image File Exchange. So I will take a pile of, let's just have an even number, 100 cards. I will pull out 100 cards that I want to list. then I will take that stack and say I'm on the couch and we're watching Netflix, and I'll take the photos just on the couch, take the photos, and I'll put them in order of how I'm taking the photos. And then I put them in a box because I may do another 100 tomorrow night or the next day. So then once I have the say I'm just going to do the 100, put those in a box. They're in order of how I took the photos. So then I go in and I type in all 100 in the spreadsheet, and then I'll go in and I'll copy and paste and just kind of double check all in the correct order. And I can do that 40 at a time. Have not tried it for a full run, but I have tested it out and just to get my feet wet so I know what I'm doing when I do. I would upload the cards first to know the order in Image Shack. So yes, so that's I'll have once I do this first. So I'm currently doing a file exchange, and I'm just kind of doing it whenever I have time. So here's my full process. I'll try to so this is my full process. So I'll grab 100 cards. I'll take the photos of 100 cards. Then I upload the 100 cards. And I just do that from my phone. And sometimes I'll do that from a stoplight. If I know I have 20 cards left to upload, I'm on a beer run or whatever, I'm at the stoplight, and I can usually get 2 or 3 uploaded at the stoplight. And then I'll go in and I kind of do them all simultaneously, where I think I have all the images uploaded now, but I've added some for this file exchange upload. So it's not a complete process that I do, because sometimes I have the balls in the air at the same time. I have a specific reason for this. Interesting. I would like to hear that. I apologize for that. I would like to hear that if there's a way, or I'd like to hear that if there's like a reason if they don't upload in the correct way. So that's kind of my process, and I haven't like formulated a perfect strategy, I guess. I kind of have mine down where it's streamlined. This will make it even better. So I easily get sidetracked and might mix my piles where the iPhone takes photo and it's horizontal and not vertical. So then when you go to fix the orientation, it creates 2 copies. Interesting. And I get that, because sometimes, and especially when it comes to uploading not at the same. So say I have 50 photos that I need to upload. Usually I'm not uploading all 50 at once. Usually I'm doing like 10 or 15, or yes, you get distracted and I'm in the middle of something. My wife wants me to take the dog out or, do something, and I get distracted, and then it's like, oh, I think this was the last, or I don't pay attention to what the last photo, and you do double up. So yes, I do get it from that standpoint. So when they go into Image Check, you have to select all 40 top to bottom to be best effective. Yeah. So that's what, so when you say that, so when you say top to bottom, so what I was doing just in my test runs, I was just clicking select all. So is that not the way to do it? Should I manually select those? Or is selecting all going to put them? So I just kind of tested this to make sure. And I only looked at card was the top row. So now I'm concerned that if I select all if I have 40. Okay. So I just wanted to make sure they go in the correct order of how they were uploaded, which they should. So I'll play around with it more. I do have this, I have a couple hundred cards. I'm about halfway through typing out the stuff just because I'm doing it, at different times. So once I get everything typed out, all the images are uploaded, so I can look at it better. And I'm sure this first time, just with file exchange and Nick, good luck, because it's the first couple tries using File Exchange can be very, very annoying. They can be frustrating is probably the correct term. Very frustrating. It can be very, especially so the template that I have is slightly different than what Chris, who created it, and well, he didn't create the template, but he created the field, just he gave me the advice. The template's on eBay. You can download the template, but it's a blank template on eBay. So Chris gave me like the exact, because you don't need to fill out everything within the File Exchange template. But you do need the required fields filled out. Otherwise it won't update correctly. And I know this, and when I was first talking about File Exchange, because if there's changes within the template and with the different fields that are required by eBay, it's not going to upload correctly. So I had this happen in my job, and I don't know if I talked about this the other day or not, but we went from using, and I think now that I talk this out, I think I did talk about this recently. So I'll keep it quick, but we were using Salesforce, but our company has its own CRM that they wanted us to use so the whole company can see it. So I had to export all of my prospect and client files from Salesforce into our CRM. So I had to work with our IT team to make sure, okay, these are the fields, everything needs to be filled out. So some of the fields that were required to make the puzzle fit, I didn't have. And I didn't want to go look through 1,500 different client files for zip codes. So I just I'm like, okay, and I know how Excel works and how spreadsheets work. It's going to require the field. So I'm just going to type in 00000 for a zip code. And that didn't work. They didn't like that. The computer didn't like that. So IT says, you have to actually put in a zip code. So it's like, so I think I basically just made up the same zip code for everything. So I just use 61234, copy paste. A quick question. What is a good bulk price on top loaders? That's a great question. If you can find them, I'm a buyer all day between 8 and 10 cents used. I think if you look hard and long enough, you can probably find new ones 13 cents to 15 cents. But I try 8 cents per top loader. I had a lot of people on Twitter when I reached out on Twitter. I had a lot of people sell them to me for 8 cents shipped per top loader. Now, obviously, you have to find sellers that have bulk, like 400 plus top loaders to make it, all worthwhile. But 8 to 10 cents I would buy all day for used. For new, you're going to be closer to 15 cents. Now, you can go to Walmart and get semi-rigids new for about 13 cents. And of course, it depends on what state you're in. You're in Illinois, so you're taxed a little higher. So it might be your sales tax is a little higher. So the semi-rigids at Walmart in Illinois would probably run 14 cents. 14 cents per semi-rigid. Let's see. So 18 cents isn't bad for new. Because again, when I say 15 cents, you're probably going to have to look really hard. If you didn't take much time to find those at 18 cents, I'd say it's a decent deal. I've seen them as low as, when I was at the Dells, somebody had just cases and cases of top loaders, and I think they were 14 cents. I think it was $135. I think it was $135 for 1,000. So yeah, if you look long and hard enough, you can find them for 13 to 15 cents. But I wouldn't get too upset over, if you need them right away, if you need them now, 18 cents is a good price, because again, you're going to have to look you're going to have to spend some time looking to find those deals for cheaper. Mike, what's up? Good morning. Watched your announcement. Congrats. Thank you very much. Looking forward to it. I put my 2-week. And I told my wife, like, I was like at the point where it's like, I just want to like be done. Like, I just want to do this. Full bore. Once it came to, it's like, okay, my wife's like, well, aren't you going to just ask for like use 2 weeks of your paid time off? And I'm like, you know what, at this point, 2 weeks, I'll get another paycheck, get an extra, 6 hours of paid time off for that 2 weeks. If you need to, I've got all my insurance appointments done. So if you need a dentist appointment, do it. Still covered under my insurance. So it's kind of like, hey, I get another paycheck that I'll, use, for bills and, it's just an extra paycheck. I'm ready to go. So, is it acceptable in the hobby to send a card PWE in a semi-ridge? Absolutely, yes. In fact, a lot of people say semi-ridge is better than top loaders because they're flatter. And I've come around to semi-rigids, especially when I'm sending like 3 cards. If I'm sending 3 to 5 cards PWE, because you can fit 2 cards in a semi-rigid better than 2 in a top loader, and they're not as rigid. I get it. Because and what I mean by that is, the top loader is square. You can't see that, but top loader is more square. So if you're sending a few cards, it's better in a semi-rigid, in my opinion. But top loader or semi-rigid, fine to send through the mail in a PWE. I've sent, in the last year, I've probably sent how many? 10,000 PWE cards and PWEs, and I've had less than 5 damaged. So I've probably had the same amount of damage in a bubble mailer with a fraction of shipments. 10,000 PWE, probably 1,000 bubble mailers, and I've had about the same damages. I'm having those conversations too. Interesting. We may have to chat next week. Speaking of, next Saturday is the Rockford Card Show, Rock Church on Harrison Avenue. So if you're in northern Illinois, southern Wisconsin, check it out. I will be there with my bargain boxes in tow. In fact, last night I was sleeving some new cards to freshen up the bargain boxes. So I'm looking forward to the Rockford show next Saturday, 9 to 3. And then the next Madison Card Show is October 23rd, Saturday, October 23rd, Sheraton Hotel in Madison, Wisconsin. So thanks for tuning in. If you have any questions, I'm always willing to give advice, answer any questions. And if you have advice for me, I'd love to hear it as well. I love to share the knowledge and help each other out. So hit me up in the DMs or shoot me an email. So have a great Saturday. Have a great weekend. I will probably go live again tomorrow. I'm not sure what. Yesterday I said I'd probably go live at 9 a.m. and here I am early, but I'll be on at some point tomorrow morning. Thanks again for all your help in answering my questions. You betcha. Have a good one. Headed to Oak Creek now. Oh, nice. Good luck. Enjoy. I wish I had knowledge to share. I just have questions. Hey, asking questions builds knowledge. Have a great Saturday, and we'll talk tomorrow.